Marjorie Taylor Greene is telling us that Americans by and far do not support the war in Ukraine. And it's pretty easy to make whatever point you want when you're not backing it up with data. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is pretty good at opening her mouth and putting nothing out into the world. But is it true that Americans do not support Ukraine? I would say that polls and data really don't support that. And here's why. All the data I'm about to show you are from a very recent Ipsos survey. And if you don't know anything about Ipsos, it's a very, very centrist, unbiased pollster. So let's look at the data. When it comes to supporting war efforts in favor of Ukraine, while it's true that the majority of Americans don't support a direct involvement like providing airstrikes or even worse, boots on the ground, the vast majority of Americans are supporting some involvement by the United States in the form of financial aid, in the form of sending arms, or even accepting refugees. And even in the face of nuclear threat, the vast majority of Americans think that the United States should be resolute against Russia. 3/4 basically of Americans think that the response of the United States should be resolute against Russia if they use nuclear arms against Ukraine. And the same amount think that we should continue to support the war effort in Ukraine, even if there's a threat of nuclear war on the part of Russia. And finally, Madge, if you looked at data instead of just spewing things randomly, you would find out that even after a year, and even though that support is a little bit waning, the majority of Americans continue to support sending military aid to Ukraine. In fact, 65% of Americans do, 76% of Democrats, but even among Republicans, the majority of them, 55%, continue to support sending military aid to Ukraine. So if I were you, Madge, I would stay away from telling us what Americans want and focus on your blossoming yodeling career.